What's up, everybody? You're watching Conspiracy Sense. Had some great feedback to my last video, so I think that's great. I'm glad you liked it. I want to talk today about something that's kind of overlooked. The topic for today is going to be watching and listening to news or conspiracy kind of programs, whether it's Alex Jones or Russia Today or whatever it is. And now you might be thinking, hey, that's pretty simple. All I have to do is press play, right? No, that's wrong. You're wrong. No, that's not what you do. That's what you can do. But the biggest problem that I see is that, I'll be talking to someone who knows about these things at one level or another. And we'll be talking about some issue that's going on in the world, and they don't really understand fully, and they're more so just parroting what somebody else has said. And I think that that's really dangerous. A great example would be a buddy of mine. His mom grew up in the 60s. And so she was one of the flower children. She was a total hippie, and she was really down with that revolution. But she can't quite understand the revolution of today, just because she's trapped in an old paradigm, and she doesn't really understand the context in modern terms, and that the exact same people she was fighting against are the exact same oligarchy that is in control of things today. And things haven't really changed. It's only the exoteric fronts that they put out and market toward the public that have changed. The plan is exactly the same, right? The plan has been in effect for 200, 300 years, arguably since the beginning of time, right? So my buddy would try to wake her up, and my dude who I'm talking to, shouts out to you, you know who you are, but he would try to wake her up with, oh, God damn it, they're coming and they're going to take our guns, and, oh, they're going to put us all in FEMA camps, and, oh, blah, blah, blah. And he would do way too much, and she wouldn't be receptive to these things. I think the reason for that is both he and I at the time were more so just gaining knowledge about these things from shows like the Alex Jones Show, and people like Alan Watt, which are great resources, don't get me wrong. And I'm not saying that any of their information is inaccurate. All I'm saying is that when you are watching these things, you need to fact check every single thing that's being said. Fact check everything. The reason for that is not because they are inaccurate, but because when you actually look into those resources yourself, you gain a lot of knowledge, and you gain a deeper understanding about these things that you wouldn't get just by hearing Alex Jones, rattle off all of these little factoids, right? And if you try to approach someone who doesn't really know what's going on by rattling off all of these factoids that you heard somebody else just machine gun at you, it's not going to have the same effect as sitting someone down and saying, I know you see things out of this paradigm, but let me show you how the current situation is almost exactly the same. In this book, this was said, this was said, this was said, this report came out, this was said, this was said, this was said. Right? And if you don't believe me, I encourage you not to believe me. In fact, I encourage you to question everything that's being said. And the reason for that is so that you can gain knowledge yourself. And not just knowledge, but to learn how to engage in logic, and how to really think about things for yourself, and to actually have original thought. And that's something that's become such a rarity these days. And it's sad because we are really and truly capable of so many great things and so many wonderful ideas, but we waste our lives on stupid things. So, I guess that the point of this is really to help people to figure these things out for themselves and to learn what is called the trivium method. And if you don't know what that is, ladies and gentlemen, I would love to go into that, but I can't explain it as well as the folks over at Tragedy and Hope Mag can. Check them out on YouTube. They have some of the best informational resources out there. They truly have compiled an absolutely excellent website and YouTube channel, and they really have compiled the most important things that you could possibly put together in terms of waking someone up. And they talk a lot about education, the Prussian-based school system, and through the resources that they have provided, it's helped me to become a lot smarter, and to actually go through and fact check these things. So I don't sound like a bumbling idiot when I'm trying to wake someone up, which ultimately just frustrates both parties, right? And now is the time where we really need to start waking people up, and we need to tailor our approaches to whoever we're talking to. Because I care about gun rights. That's me. A left liberal probably doesn't care about gun rights. They probably care about organic food, protecting the environment, and freedom of speech. So you kind of have to tailor whatever you're saying to what it is that they believe in. And once you do that, and once you can connect on their level, it makes it a lot easier for them to understand where you're coming from, and to understand that we are all part of the exact same struggle, and we are all being controlled by the exact same system that manipulates both sides into hating one another. So we fight with each other so that we don't ever fight them. So that's going to be the purpose of today's show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and support fellow freedom lovers. Now's the time to start supporting people, and now's the time to start getting organized and start uniting. Alright, people, so this is what I have found anyway, probably the most effective way of watching some program and being able to fact check everything that's being said, and also it's the most effective way of retaining information. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to play through this video. I'm going to stop at various points, and I'm going to look stuff up. So a little side note before we begin is what I was talking about earlier, Tragedy and Hope Mag. This is them right here. Check them out. They know what the fuck they're talking about. And this, what we're watching right now, is actually one of the best things that they have on their website and their YouTube channel. Check out this guy, John Taylor Gatto. He talks all about the educational system and how it's completely fucked in the game, for lack of better words. So anyway, let's begin.
You took less quality, but now you had less contention, less argument. Carnegie was instrumental in.
Okay, so this has been made really easy for us, simply because they add this down here, right? Normally you would obviously not have something like that, right? And you would just have to go off of what they say. So anyway, let's just look this up just for shits and giggles. Whoa, get out of here. hell is going on here? Fucking thing. Okay, so this is what comes up. So usually what I do is, because if I go off and I learn everything that there is to know about this right now, I'm never going to finish this, right? This will take me weeks to finish. So in order to prevent that, what I do is I judge based on what was said. So if it seems like it's something that I can research and learn what it is within a couple minutes, I'll look it up right then and then start going into the information right then. Things like the definition of a word, right? That's super easy. Or if you hear something get brought up and you want to know the date, right? That's super easy, right? But this, we have this up, so we can sort through this later. But like here, this one right here looks like it's going to be a good resource, right? So Andrew Carnegie was determined to break the Union, right? So we know that he was a Union buster. So this might be a good place to begin. So let's just make a mental note of that, and let's continue.
Eliminating the influence of skilled labor, and it continued right through the 20th century.
What influence have the Rockefellers had on organized labor, skilled labor, education?
The Rockefeller family can actually be...
So again, we have this. Okay. Let's see if I can type it in right this time. Okay. Now they always tell you in school that you're not supposed to look at Wikipedia. Wikipedia actually isn't a terrible resource. I mean, they're very biased when it comes to political things, but it will give you additional information that will point you in a direction so that you have extra keywords to type in. So, as I was saying here, they're giving us what we need to type in, right? Normally, you're not going to have that. So what I tend to do is I go to Wikipedia, and I just kind of skim through what's going over here, right? So we know who was involved, right? What else do we have here? I've actually been here. It's kind of a creepy place. So we have all this stuff, but anyway, we can find little things in here that will give us additional information. And as you know, whenever you look something up on Google, the more specific you are, usually the more scholarly type of, informational resources are all going to come up. So just something to keep in mind. Let's keep going.
Traced way back in Dutch history, there's an ancestor of the Rockefellers who set up a rather detailed plan for global government hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And that is one of these flow charts that showed how you were going to do that or
Why is that not surprising?
not. But or the great irony, of course, is that Rockefeller and Carnegie's families were fringe people in the United States, but using their brilliant insight into leverage and how it works, both were able to take nothing and pyramid it into quite a bit. Rockefeller actually, his father, I believe, but it may have been his grandfather, fled a rape charge, sort of like Strauss-Kahn's.
So this is obviously interesting. I haven't even looked this up yet. So this looks like it's going to be a good resource right here. See what we can come up with. Oh, I got this fucking malware. I hate malware so much. Okay. So anyway, we can keep this for a while and just kind of see what we want to do with it after we're done watching this. And what the end result is going to be is we're going to have 1,000,000 tabs just all the way across here. Get out of my face. So we're going to have all this stuff here. So after we're done watching this hour-long thing, now we have about a day or two of research to do. So, and again, the reason why this is important is because when you talk to someone about what you've just learned here, you always retain more information when you have looked at that information multiple times, right? And you retain it even more so when you've looked at it. This is knowledge. When you have analyzed it for yourself and we put it into your own words. This is logic. And you will really retain information if you apply the knowledge that you've learned to your day-to-day life. This is what is called rhetoric. So what I've just described to you here is the trivium method. This is, again, what this guy talks about, what Tragedy and Hope talks about. Super, super, super important. So, anyway, that's that. So hopefully this just gives you an idea of maybe what you can do a little bit differently, because I think a lot of us, we have seen resources like this, or potentially even things far more sophisticated than this. But it's difficult to break the habit of, just sitting here and just kind of zoning out and watching all 5 of these back to back to back and wasting a day. And although you're learning important stuff, you're not really retaining any of it. So when someone, that you're trying to wake up is asking you about these things, and they're intrigued, and you can't even give them a date, you can't even give them the who, what, when, where, why, how of what you're trying to wake them up to, they're going to completely discard you as a fool, and they're not going to believe you, and they're going to go right back to sleep. But if you can drop a bunch of knowledge on them and then tell them, hey, this is how I learned this stuff, you can learn this stuff too. There's nothing smart about me. This is all something that you can do. I think that they're going to be a lot more receptive, and I think that that's the goal. So, anyway, this is really what we need to be focusing on right now. I hope you enjoyed. I think I'm going to make another couple videos like this. I think I'll do one maybe with Alex Jones, just because these things kind of get swept under the rug after a while, and this really is one of the most important things you could learn. So it's very important that we really dive into these things and really start to learn these things for ourselves, and then share that information with other people. That's the second most important thing. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Please be sure to subscribe. I'm really excited with all the positive feedback I've been getting from people. So just let me know if there's anything you would like to see here on Conspiracy Sense. And in the meantime, keep fighting the good fight and make sense out of these conspiracies.